If you think the Georgians were prim and proper, think again. I'm here at Painswick Rococo Gardens, and behind closed doors, this is where the Georgians got up to all sorts. This is the Red House. It's a historical building listed and original to the garden, and it's a little summer house with a little fireplace inside. In this garden, which was made for play and fun, this is where the adults would have come to have a little time with their loved ones. This garden was considered a private place, which meant that what went on here probably wouldn't have happened outside in society. There's stories of women of ill repute, drunkenness and debauchery all across this garden, and in the morning, all they did was they went to church and repented their sins, and everything was okay. Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm Assistant Head Gardener here at Painswick Rococo Garden. We're an 18th century garden reconstructed from a painting by Thomas Robbins of 1748. Thomas Robbins was a little known artist from the 18th century, and little known because he chose to use watercolours which don't tend to survive as well as oil paintings. Over the centuries the garden was lost, and it's because of that painting that we were able to reconstruct the garden from the 1980s onwards. But without him, we would have no idea about how people used their gardens in the 18th century. Behind me is the Eagle House, one of the many follies here at Painswick Rococo Garden, and it's been reconstructed thanks to the details in the painting. It's now where we keep our little charity bookshop. The beds here originate from the 19th century and were restored in the 2000s. We've been planting them for dry conditions as they're quite slopey. The plants here include lavender, sage, rosemary, peonies. We've got beautiful hydrangea quercifolia, the oak-leafed hydrangea, along with santolina and sedums, and of course euphorbia. And all of the plants here are either native or are in the country in the 1830s. We're here in the Exedra garden, which is the main area of colour in our garden. The Exedra would have been a really important part of 18th century gardens and actually date back to ancient Greece, and they were popularised by the Romans, used for education and meeting places. Ours is the main focal point and one of our most photographed follies. The planting here in the Exedra garden includes spring bulbs, roses. We also do annuals, but mainly herbaceous perennials. In the 18th century, it would have been very important for the homeowners to show off their plants that were coming in from across the world. And that included being able to show off just how many gardeners they could afford to pay to make them look nice. If you'd like late summer colour in your borders, these are 3 flowers that I would recommend. Firstly, Helianthus lemon queen. It's so popular with our visitors and it's so easy to grow. This is a perennial sunflower, so it grows all year, and when at the end of the year we'll just cut it down. Bees absolutely adore it, and as you can see, it grows really tall, over 6 foot sometimes. I'd also recommend Sambucus nigra black lace, one of my absolute favourites for some late colour purple foliage. As well as that, you get their amazing pink flowers in the early summer. On top of that, Hylotelephium, previously known as sedum. This beautiful plant gives off these great big blossoms of pink late summer on top of this lovely succulent green foliage. It's a real winner, and also the bees love it. This is our beautiful plunge pool, a really important part of an 18th century garden or landscape. It was really trendy in the 18th century to go cold water dipping, and they believed that it promoted health and well-being. Ours is spring-fed, which means that it remains about 11 or 12 degrees Celsius all year round, so it's bitterly cold. In Thomas Robbins' painting, there was a little changing tent just in the corner. Now this would have been just for men, so they would have used that tent and jumped in the pool naked. Because this was just for men, we think that actually the Eagle House up on the hill was named so because that's where the women would be and they'd have a little look. Here at the plunge pool is where the statue of Pan would have stood. Pan was the god of creativity and sexuality, half man, half goat, and he oversaw all of the goings on in the garden. To Benjamin Hyatt and his friends, Pan was already a significant deity, and the fact that they had a statue of him here just goes to show exactly what they were up to in this garden. Following on from the playful sense of the garden here, this is our anniversary maze. It marks 250 years from the painting of 1748. It was originally planted as yew, but that failed, so it was replaced with privet using the golden yellow and the common green to mark out the numbers. It was designed by Angela Newing, a local physicist, and opened by Johnny Ball in 1998. Angela designed it as 3 separate mazes, the 2, the 5 and the 0, with the 0 being probably the easiest of the 3 mazes. But she also designed it so that you can't follow your left-hand hedge to get out, so it's a bit of a conundrum and the kids love it. We're now in the kitchen garden here at Painswick Rococo Garden, and it's an essential space to us, but it also would have been essential in the 18th century. It would have been used to grow vegetables and medicines for domestic use in the house. Its central location and size, right in the middle of the historic garden, is really unusual, and ours is then broken down into beautiful little triangles, all with boundaries of espaliered apples and pears. Today we use the kitchen garden to grow fruits and vegetables that we use here on site. We supply our cafe so they're able to have a seasonal menu throughout the year, as well as having ice creams made, including a herbal range. But as well as that, we preserve a lot of our fruits and vegetables. We create jams, chutneys, cider, beer, as well as wine for sale in our on-site shop. Thanks for coming on the tour with me today, and of course there's so much more to see here. We hope to see you soon, but don't forget to use your 2 for 1 Gardens card.